Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video kind of giving you all an update of how I've been feeling on the carnivore diet now that I am 20 weeks pregnant. I'm really excited to fill you in on how I've been feeling and just really how this pregnancy has been going for me. This is my third pregnancy, and so it's been really cool to be able to compare and contrast how I've been feeling during this pregnancy eating a meat-based diet versus my other pregnancies where I was eating more of a standard American diet. Yeah, I just want to answer some common questions, and then a few of you sent me questions on Instagram as well. And yeah, I just think it's crazy that I'm already at 20 weeks. This honestly has been like the quickest pregnancy I've ever experienced. It just seems to have flown by. Like I don't even feel like I'm 20 weeks pregnant. I don't even feel like I've been pregnant for this long, and to think that I only have halfway to go, that's just, it blows my mind. So I'm excited to go ahead and dive in and answer some of these questions. So the first thing that I'm gonna start off talking about is my weight gain. Before I got pregnant, I was down to the weight of 128, so 128 pounds, and I'm 5'4". During the beginning of this pregnancy, I really wasn't gaining a lot of weight, maybe a couple pounds, and then at my past appointment, I gained 7 pounds. So there was definitely a jump and a spike of gaining weight. From my last appointment, which was 4 weeks ago, I gained 7 pounds, which seems like a lot. I mean, I was kind of surprised to see that, but total and overall, I've only gained, 10 pounds? 11 pounds, because I started at 128 and right now I'm currently sitting at 139. It's honestly really encouraging to see that my weight hasn't like skyrocketed like my other pregnancies. During my first pregnancy with Zane, I gained like 50 pounds, and I had so much water weight and just so much, I feel like, swelling that really contributed to my weight gain. But with Maddie as well, I believe I gained over 30 pounds with her as well. It's just like, you know, you get done being pregnant and it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta lose all this weight now. Like 30 pounds is not easy to lose, especially not 50 pounds too. So it's really encouraging to see that my weight is, for the most part, slowly inclining as the baby is getting bigger. And usually in the second trimester, that's really when the baby has a growth spurt. And so it doesn't surprise me that I have gained more pounds during the second trimester. My blood pressure has been good throughout this pregnancy. I believe past week for my 20-week appointment, it was 110/62. So that's pretty normal for me to have my systolic blood pressure number around the 100s, and then for my diastolic, so the bottom number, usually around 60 or 70. So that has been the same throughout this pregnancy as it was with my previous pregnancies. They told me that the baby's head was down already, which I could kind of tell just by where I feel pressure here and there when the baby moves. And they said that the baby was really easy to get pictures of during the ultrasound. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just stop right here and apologize because I'm probably gonna refer to the baby as a he during this whole video. There's just something in my mind where I just feel like it's a boy, and you're probably all gonna laugh at me if by the end of this, 40 weeks of being pregnant, we have a girl. And I'm totally fine with that. I would be thrilled to have a girl, but for some reason in my mind it's a boy, and so therefore I refer to our baby as another boy. I try to keep it gender neutral, but if it does slip that I'm saying he, you all know why. But anyways, to go on, they said baby is doing great, baby is healthy. The measurements were consistent with my estimated due date, and so they said everything looked really good, which, I mean, is the best news that you can hope for when you go in for your 20-week ultrasound. I've been blessed to always have healthy babies, but I don't think there's a single mom out there that the 20-week appointment maybe gives a little bit of anxiety and nervousness, just because you know that they're going to be looking at the body and they're going to be looking at all the anatomy of the baby, and you just pray to God that everything is going to be okay, that baby has 4 chambers in its heart, and that they don't see anything wrong with the placenta. And so it just is always a big sigh of relief for me knowing that my baby is developing well. And you know, I do have a lot of confidence, especially during this pregnancy, with the way that I've been treating my body and the way that I've been fueling it with the foods that I feel are the most nutrient dense for myself as well as for this growing child inside of me. But still, I don't think that feeling ever goes away, that when they're checking out the baby, you're just, you know, praying the whole time that everything is okay. And so I really do feel blessed that everything has been going really great so far. So baby's heart rate, they let me know, was 151, which is great. And then they told me the size of the baby was 397 grams, which is not even a pound. So it's like 0.8 something of a pound. But baby is growing and doing well. So I had someone ask me on Instagram, are we finding out the gender? And we are not. For my first two babies, we did find out the gender, and we had a boy for my first child and a girl for my second. I just thought, you know, you never know when your last kid is gonna be. Like, I don't know if this is gonna be my last pregnancy. I would like to have more kids, but you know, I'm really not in control of that. And so we've been blessed with children, you know, but I don't know what the future holds for us. And so therefore, I just wanted to say that I did it once. I wanted to say that I waited until the baby was born in order to find the gender. And so that's something that I think will add a little extra specialness. So how have I been feeling? Well, to be honest with you, for most of this pregnancy so far, I keep forgetting that I'm pregnant. Me and my husband both, actually. If it wasn't for this bump that's starting to grow on my tummy, I literally would forget half the time that I am pregnant, which is such a difference from my other pregnancies. Throughout my other pregnancies, I always just felt so bogged down and heavy and like, I don't know, just really like slow moving, lethargic, just not feeling good in my body in general. And during this pregnancy, it's been like a complete 180. I have felt amazing energy levels, and it's crazy because you'd think I'd be more tired than ever having two toddlers running around the house and, you know, taking care of things, and we just moved, and I feel like literally I have not been pregnant. And it's exciting to say that because I've been feeling so good, and it just makes me really enjoy being pregnant. A lot of people would always say, oh, don't you love being pregnant? And I would be like, no, not really. I mean, I love my babies and I love having kids, but the pregnancy part kind of sucks. But this time I would not say that at all. I'm loving it so far. I can understand why mamas love being pregnant. I feel like, I don't know, you just feel so at one with yourself, knowing that you have this sweet little baby inside of you. And when this baby's making you feel good, it's not making you feel tired or sick or nauseous. You just get to enjoy the experience so much more. And so for that, I feel very blessed, and I'm really loving this pregnancy. It makes me want to have more kids, to be honest with you. It makes me like literally love the process of having children even more. Another thing that I'm super enjoying during this pregnancy is just not worrying about eating too calorie dense of foods. So usually when I'm eating my carnivore diet and I'm not pregnant, I will stick a lot to just meat and salt and spices and water. But I've definitely incorporated a lot more cheeses and pork rinds and dairy products during this pregnancy. And it's just really fun to be able to try different recipes and to not really have weight goals, I guess, or aesthetic like body goals while I'm pregnant. And so I just feel like I've really been able to enjoy a lot of different foods, especially that are in the realm of what you can eat on this diet. So on the topic of food, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some struggles that I've been having as far as food goes. So I'll just start from the beginning. At the start of this pregnancy, I just felt really hungry all the time. I mean, I was just eating everything to my heart's content. I was eating, you know, a good amount of meat. I would say a couple pounds, usually per meal. And then I was also consuming a lot of dairy, a lot of cheese curds, things of that sort. And that was pretty much through the first trimester. And then I would say around 17, 18 weeks of the second trimester, I just had a really big tank in my appetite. I didn't feel nauseous. I didn't have any aversions to food. Food still tasted really good to me, but I just didn't really feel for food. I kind of lost my appetite, I guess you could say. And so like I would start eating something and it would taste great and I just wouldn't want any more, or I would feel full really quick to the point of where I just, I felt like I was stuffing myself. And so that's kind of how it's been the past, like I would say month or so. And it's been a struggle because I was doing really great. Like I felt like my skin has kind of been on and off, to be honest with you. I've had acne at times, and which is totally common for me during pregnancy to have acne here and there. Plus I am consuming more dairy than usual, and so I know that dairy is definitely an inflammation trigger in my body. But there has been times during this pregnancy where my skin has been absolutely glowing. Like it's been beautiful. One day I'll be telling my husband, look how pretty my skin looks and look how great this is. I love pregnancy hormones. And then the next day I'm like, I hate pregnancy hormones. Look at this zit on my face. And so it's kind of been a back and forth with acne. So yeah, and my hair was doing really well. I felt like it was nice and strong and shiny and healthy. And then I would say about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I started noticing a little bit more hair loss. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, this doesn't normally happen to me when I'm pregnant. Normally I can't even get like a single strand of hair to come out of my head when I'm pregnant. Like my hair is just super thick and it grows really fast. And so I just found it really odd that I was starting to see a little bit of my hair coming out more than usual. After thinking about it, I was like, oh, it makes sense. I really haven't been eating as much as I probably should be because like I said, I just haven't had the desire. I've been getting full really quick, which I would say that is something that is a little challenging when you're eating this way and you are pregnant. Meat and things of that sort are very satiating. And so if you even have just the slightest decrease in your appetite, you're probably not consuming enough calories throughout the day. And so that's something that I've definitely tried to be more conscious about as I've progressed in this pregnancy. And I have seen a change with less hair loss as well, even in this past week of just upping my calories. And at first I was like, well, how can I up my calories when I just feel so full and I feel like I just don't want to eat anymore. And I really found that getting creative in the kitchen has saved me. So I've been doing a lot of carnivore pizzas with pork rinds. I do have a previous video that I uploaded last week showing my favorite carnivore pizza recipe. The crust is made out of like pork rinds and cream cheese and eggs, and it's just divine. But there's a lot of, I would say it's more of a calorie dense meal. It's something that if you probably weren't pregnant or weren't trying to gain weight on this diet, you probably wouldn't want to consume all the time, but that's something that I've found beneficial in adding into my diet. Other things also is like making Alfredo sauces. I have a really great carnivore Alfredo sauce, and I've just been topping my meatballs with that. I can top my steak with it, and just adding a little bit more fat and a little bit more calories to what I ordinarily eat has really helped me increase my calories without feeling like I'm having to eat a ton of food. So during pregnancy, people talk about cravings all the time, and for me during this pregnancy, I honestly have just been craving like thick, raw milk. And the sad part about that is that we honestly don't have a way to get raw milk that I'm aware of here in Wisconsin. I was looking it up online, and apparently it's illegal to buy raw milk from farmers in Wisconsin, which is just so upsetting to me. I think that's so sad that I live in Dairyland and I can't even get raw unpasteurized milk. And so instead of that, I've literally been drinking heavy whipping cream. Like you can buy those cartons of heavy whipping cream from the store. I literally have been buying those during my grocery shopping weeks and consuming like multiple jugs of those throughout the week. That may sound crazy and that may sound weird, but it's really satisfying. And I've actually been making ice cream out of it too. I hope to show you guys an ice cream recipe that's carnivore that I've been using and that I love, and it's kind of got a holiday spice remix to it. And so that's something that I've been doing. And yeah, I just think that's crazy though that I can't get raw milk here in Wisconsin because it would make someone break the law. Like, if someone can help a girl out here, let me know how I can get my hands on raw milk, because that would just make this pregnant lady the happiest girl ever. All right, let's talk a little bit more about things that I've been experiencing that's been a little bit different on this pregnancy. Probably starting around 18 weeks as well, I started to have some groin pain, which normally is really late in my pregnancy that I experience this. It's usually around the 30-week mark that I'll start feeling really sore down there, and just, you'll start feeling a little bit more tenderness because the hormones are relaxing the pelvis and the muscles down there. And so I found it kind of shocking that I was already feeling a little bit more sore down there. I don't know if it's because it's my third pregnancy or what, and it really depends on the day. Some days I'm totally fine, but other days if I'm like sitting down for a good amount of time and I get up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. Like, it just seems really early for me to feel that way, but that's something that I've been experiencing, and so I wanted to let you guys know that. Another thing that I've noticed during this pregnancy is I feel like my stomach is so sensitive. Not on the inside, but on the outside. So, having kids, obviously they're jumping on you all the time, and it literally shocks me, like if they hit into my stomach, even if it's really light and really slight, I feel like it's so sensitive. I feel like there's nothing between me and the baby hardly, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, I've really been trying to be proactive and telling the kids, you can't touch mommy's belly, you don't want to hurt baby. And my son Zane, he's so funny, he's like, oh, we don't want to pop baby. We were at the ultrasound this past week, and he kept on telling the ultrasound technician, don't squish baby, don't pop baby. I was like, oh my goodness, that's for me. So I've just been really trying to get on them about not touching mommy's belly, because it honestly, like if they hit into me, I can definitely feel it, and baby doesn't feel happy about it either. Baby will kick me or just let me know that it doesn't like being squished, especially when I'm like picking up my 1.5-year-old Maddie. She really loves to be carried around everywhere, and if I don't hold her the right way, baby inside me will kick at her and saying, hey, you're squishing me in here. So that's something that I've also just noticed during this pregnancy, is that my stomach just seems a lot more sensitive, and I just don't remember that with my other 2 pregnancies. So at 20 weeks, I am definitely feeling a lot of movement from baby. I actually started feeling movement from baby probably around like 6 weeks, which seems really early. But I think it's just after you're pregnant so many times that you just know what to look for, and you can start feeling those flutterings inside your stomach sooner and sooner. And so I just think it's been really cool to be able to feel the movement of my baby inside of me for this long. It just gives me like an added connection, and it really makes me reminded that I have this little life inside of me, and it's just such a beautiful thing. So let's talk about constipation. On this diet in general, on a carnivore diet, a lot of people have questions about constipation, not eating fiber, and I definitely went through my times when I was transitioning over to carnivore when I felt like my body was trying to regulate itself, not necessarily having constipation, but just going through moments of having loose stool, and then maybe having a little bit harder depending on what I was eating, like if I was incorporating nuts or things of that sort. But yeah, during this pregnancy, I have not had any constipation. In fact, never have I had constipation when I've been pregnant. But I will say in my past 2 pregnancies, I would have, and let me just say, this is TMI, but you're here anyway, we're talking about pregnancy, so I'm just gonna keep going. But in my first 2 pregnancies, anytime that I was pregnant, I would literally have the largest poops in the world. And my husband would make fun of me because I would plug up the toilet multiple times throughout the day, which was super frustrating and annoying and kind of embarrassing. That always happened to me when I was pregnant, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, why do I have these big bowel movements when I'm pregnant? And it was never like a straining to go. I feel like I've always been able to defecate easily, but that's just something I noticed in my past pregnancies. When I was pregnant, I would always have really large poops. Not this way with this pregnancy. I literally don't strain to go at all. My feces comes out super easily. I haven't had any constipation. I've had to deal with any of that, thank the Lord. I know a lot of pregnant women have to deal with that, and I almost wonder if it's because like Obviously, I feel like fiber, you don't need fiber. I feel like fiber is what bulks up your poop and makes you get constipated. But also during this pregnancy, I have just been so thirsty all the time. And I've been drinking, like, I have a water bottle that's like this big and it has a straw, and I will go through like 4 or 5 of those throughout the day without even thinking about it. It's not something that I ever have to think about drinking water because I just crave it. And so I think that's probably helping everything run smoothly and making me avoid any constipation. But who knows? Another thing that I will mention, for any of you ladies that have been pregnant before, that first poop after your postpartum, oh my gosh, like literally that is almost just as bad as labor, as delivery. And nobody told me about this when I had my first child. I remember literally sitting on the pot at my house and literally feeling like I was gonna die. I was like, oh my gosh, I was praying to the Lord and I was saying, God, please help me get this out of me. It just hurts so bad. And nobody ever told me about this. And I was like, why don't people talk about this postpartum poop? Like for a week straight, I would literally get into a cold sweat knowing that I would get that urge to have to defecate, and just knowing that it was going to be a struggle for me. Oh my gosh, I dreaded it. I honestly dreaded it. And so I'm really hoping and praying that it's not going to be like that for me this time during this pregnancy, just because I haven't had any issues with defecating and I haven't had any issues with constipation. I'm just really, hoping that it doesn't hurt for me to pass a bowel movement after I have this baby. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, and I'll let you know my experience once I'm postpartum. So throughout this pregnancy, I haven't experienced any morning sickness, which once again, I do feel really fortunate. And throughout all my pregnancies, I've never had any morning sickness. A lot of my sisters who have been pregnant have definitely experienced it. And so just seeing them go through it, it makes me feel really grateful that I haven't had to experience that. And I honestly feel so bad for any woman that's had to go through that. But I will say there was a time, say it was about 2 weeks ago now, that I ate some liver, and I usually buy conventional liver from the grocery store because that's usually where I can find it. If I can find it from like a local farm, that's where I prefer to get it from. But most of the time, getting liver from a conventional grocery store. Well, there must have been just something wrong with this liver, because I think I had 1 piece. There's usually like 4 pieces cut up in it. So within eating like 1 piece of the liver, I just instantly didn't feel very good. And then within half an hour, I was on the toilet. It was like my body was trying to get rid of it, and I just felt kind of nauseous and not that great. And I didn't really know why I was feeling this way. I didn't really think about it, like, oh, you just had liver and maybe it wasn't a good sourced liver. And so I had another piece the next day, and I literally felt so nauseous and sick afterwards. I went to bed that night. I mean, this lasted all day. I went to bed that night and I just felt so sick, and it was just not good, you guys. I felt like my body was reacting very bad to something that was in that liver. And so I threw the rest of the liver away, and within 1 day, my symptoms resolved. I didn't have any more nauseous feelings. I didn't have any more like I'm gonna throw up and hurl feelings, because literally throughout that night when I was feeling so sick, I got up in the middle of the night and was down by the toilet thinking I was gonna like throw my guts up. So it definitely was kind of an eye-opener, kind of like awakening moment for me. Thinking about the way that I source my liver, especially because liver stores toxins in the body of a human and in the body of an animal. And so I do think that it is something that you probably want to invest in getting higher quality and making sure that you are getting it from a good source, because you don't want to be eating all those toxins and consuming it, because that's going to be bad for your body. Lately, I've just kind of been avoiding liver just because I haven't been able to find a good source for it. And instead, I've been replacing it with heart and gizzards. This time of year, you can really find a lot of heart and gizzards in local grocery stores. And yes, once again, I'm getting them from local grocery stores, but I've never gotten sick from it before. I mean, I've never gotten sick from liver either from buying it from local grocery stores. But I just love organ meats, and it's hard for me to stay away from them. especially during this pregnancy. I've been craving them, and so I've been eating a lot of gizzards and a lot of heart, and that's what I've been doing instead of the liver currently, just because I just don't want to chance it again. Also, it is deer hunting season this weekend here in Wisconsin for us, so I'm praying that my hubby is blessed with some good deer meat and he will save the organs for me. Last year I got a liver and a heart from one of the deer that he got, and I was just such a happy lark. I was so happy to get to have my fresh liver and my fresh heart and all that delicious deer meat. And so I'm hoping that the Lord will bless us with a good year for hunting, and that I'll be able to stock up on some fresh liver and some fresh organ meats. So during this pregnancy, I haven't noticed any new stretch marks. In my previous pregnancies, I did get some stretch marks on the sides of my hips, a little bit on my thighs, especially on the back of my thighs, and then I think I got a few kind of by my belly button, but they're very, very hard to notice. You can hardly see them. And so, you know, I do check here and there, and I just haven't noticed anything new because you kind of grow accustomed to the ones that you can always see. So I feel like my body has just been gradually gaining weight throughout this pregnancy, and that it hasn't been causing a lot of stress on my skin, making it stretch or get stretch marks. And so I just feel like it's something I've not even had to worry about because my weight gain has been so gradual. So we're gonna get a little personal here. I wanted to address how my sex drive has been during this pregnancy, and to give you guys just a little bit of background. Usually when I'm pregnant, I definitely do not have any desire to have sex with my husband or be intimate with him. I'm sure a lot of you women can relate. You just don't always feel the most sexy or attractive when you're getting larger and larger all the time. But with this pregnancy, I can honestly say I've been so horny. It has been totally different. I've definitely seen such an increase in my libido. I'm probably the one that initiates sex more often than not with my husband, and I don't think he minds one bit. So that's just something that I've really been enjoying during this pregnancy, and just feeling the energy even to have sex is just incredible, because like I said, usually when I'm pregnant, I just feel so blah. Like I just feel like I don't want to do anything besides eat ice cream and sit on the couch and watch movies, which is so bad. But during this pregnancy, I just have felt so much energy, and I just feel like my sex drive has been crazy. I mean, pregnancy is one of the best times to have sex because you don't even have to worry about like having protection because you can't get pregnant. And so it just makes it so much more fun, and like I feel like I've been curvier in different areas, and so that makes it extra fun and interesting. And so yeah, I've really been enjoying having a higher sex drive during this pregnancy. And if anyone is struggling with that, I would say try the carnivore diet, because it has helped me so much in that area. And I don't think your husbands will mind. So during this pregnancy, I haven't really noticed an increase in like having to go to the bathroom, especially like during the night, which in my past pregnancies, I would have to wake up 2 to 3 times during the night in order to go pee and empty my bladder. But for this pregnancy, at the most, I've had to wake up maybe once, and that's not every night. But sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I kind of have to use the bathroom and go pee. And so, I mean, it's still pretty early in my pregnancy. I think you forget some things of when you start having certain symptoms. And so I'm at 20 weeks, and I feel like I haven't had a big like pressure on my bladder during the night. So I guess we'll see if that changes. But yeah, as of right now, I don't feel like I've had a strong urge to have to urinate more often. So yeah, I haven't had any headaches, I haven't had any heartburn, I haven't had any cramps, which is awesome, because in some of my past pregnancies, and actually both of my past pregnancies, I would get these awful sensations in my legs, like this tingly feeling in my legs at nighttime when I would go to sleep at night. And it was just so frustrating, because here you are exhausted in bed and you want to go to sleep, and then your legs literally feel like they have ants crawling up and down them. So that is something that I absolutely hated about being pregnant, and thankfully, as far as I am in this pregnancy, I haven't experienced any of that. I do think it did come on a little bit later on in my pregnancy, but honestly, I just haven't had any cramping, I haven't had any like swelling or edema in my legs, and I've just felt really good so far, so I'm praying and hoping that I don't have to experience those nighttime tingling sensations in my legs. And so far so good. Let's talk about moodiness and mood changes during pregnancy. You gotta love all those hormones coursing through your body. But I honestly feel like during this pregnancy, I've been in more control of my emotions and my feelings. And so that's been really good for me and for my husband, because I feel like I can respond to things. I mean, I still get annoyed here and there. I mean, I'm human. You know, there's things that annoy me. But I feel like I can just think about it logically instead of responding really quickly with like a harsh response or like a harsh comment. And so that's something that I feel like the carnivore diet has actually helped me with, just because I feel like it does even out my moods. It does balance me out in that area. And I feel like my hormones aren't always wacky all the time, where it's hard for me to think clearly and to think logically and to, you know, just not respond harshly in the moment of when I'm feeling, you know, irritated or moody. So yeah, that's something that I've noticed that's definitely different in this pregnancy versus other pregnancies. I know in my past pregnancies, there's times when I was pregnant that I just felt uncontrollably emotional. And my poor husband had to go through that with me, and he's always been such a great support system for me, and I just appreciate him so much. But I truly do feel bad for making him go through some of the mood swings that I've experienced in the past. And so just feeling more calm and in control of my emotions has been a great benefit. I haven't experienced any Braxton Hicks during this pregnancy. I know for most women those can start around 20 weeks. And so far so good. I've never had Braxton Hicks with any of my pregnancies. I've never had those fake contractions. And so the same as with this pregnancy, I haven't experienced any of those. So I haven't noticed any bloating or gas as long as I stick to the carnivore diet. Now, as I was talking to you guys previously before, I've been trying to focus on upping my calories here and there, just because it's been hard for me to have an appetite during the second trimester of pregnancy. And so with that, I have included some nuts here and there that I've been eating throughout the weeks. But I will notice that I do have some gas after eating nuts and some bloating. And so that's something that I'm kind of like, it's a give or take at this moment. Nuts are very calorically dense. Probably after I'm postpartum and done being pregnant, I will take the nuts back out of my diet, but I do feel like they have helped me increase my calories during this time when I just really haven't felt much of an appetite at all. And nuts, as you all know, are very easy to snack on. You guys know, you know, how that goes as I go through the third trimester. It may be something that I completely cut out if I feel like I don't need them anymore. And right now I think it's just because it's my like little treat. When you're pregnant, you know, it's that time and excuse of where you say, oh, I can have whatever I want. But obviously eating this way, I'm not going to be indulging in donuts and ice cream and all those things. So I feel like nuts in a way has taken that place for me of where I normally wouldn't consume nuts, but because I'm pregnant, it's okay to consume them, especially because I'm trying to increase my calories. But like I said, when I'm done being pregnant, I really don't feel the need to have nuts, and I really don't feel like it's conducive for my body aesthetic goals. And in general, they don't make me feel the best. Something that in the future I don't see keeping in my diet. But for the time being, just being honest with you guys, I have been having some nuts. Caffeine during pregnancy, I have not had any coffee. I've just never been a coffee drinker, and so it's not something that I usually include in my diet. So I haven't been having any caffeine or any coffee throughout this pregnancy. But with that, I will have tea every so often. So I do have like green tea. It's organic green tea that I have in my cupboard. And during this time of year when it's a lot colder, I do like to have something warm or like a hot beverage. And so I will heat up some water and just stick a tea bag in that water to kind of flavor it. And that's just really satisfying to me. I don't need to sweeten it. I don't need to add anything to it. I will just drink it straight up. And so that's something that I will do here and there. How has my sleep been during this pregnancy? It's actually been really good. I feel like now being at 20 weeks, I maybe have to change my position in bed a few more times throughout the night, just because I feel like if I lay on one side of my stomach for too long, it will get a little sore. But other than that, I feel like I've been sleeping like a rock. I feel like my sleep has been very rejuvenating and that I've been feeling refreshed when I wake up. And so that's something that's been really great to experience. I feel like in my past pregnancies, just having issues with like tingly legs and just, I mean, not feeling good in general, maybe just having some upset digestion and things of that sort, having to wake up so many times to go to the bathroom. It really interrupted the quality of my sleep. I feel like throughout this pregnancy, it's been a lot better and I've been able to catch a lot more winks. So as I told you guys previously, I've just been loving water throughout this pregnancy, and especially sparkling water, or carbonated water as people call it. I have been just drinking that so much throughout this pregnancy and enjoying it so much. Normally I'll like have sparkling water here and there, but throughout this pregnancy I almost have been like craving it. Like it just feels so good going down my throat, and it just, I don't know, I've just really been loving it. And so that's something that I wanted to let you guys know as well, is that maybe if you're craving pops or anything like that, I haven't really been craving pops, but it's just, there's something about being pregnant and carbonated water. So the last question that I'm going to address that I got on Instagram, this sweet lady wrote, how has your weight gain been? Do you plan to stay carnivore through labor and early postpartum days? And what was your biggest reason for doing carnivore? So the first question I already kind of addressed. So far I've gained 11 pounds throughout this pregnancy. I started at 128 pounds and I'm currently at 139 pounds. As far as staying carnivore throughout labor and postpartum, like after I'm done being pregnant, absolutely. I really don't see myself eating any other way than the way that I'm eating. Like I said, I've been doing this for over a year now, and I've been eating carnivore for over a year and loving it. It's not something that I would have ever imagined me doing, just because I was so heavily addicted to the carbs and the sweets. But you know that something is sustainable when you can eliminate all of those carbs and all those sweets and just eat a lot of meat and a lot of animal products and feel so happy about doing so, to feel so satiated. And that's really why this diet is so sustainable for me, is because I actually enjoy what I eat and I'm loving it. I never get tired of my food. I never feel like I'm missing out on things, because I feel like, you know, getting to eat my seafood and my steak and my carnivore ice cream and my carnivore pizza, I don't feel deprived. I feel like this is the way that I will eat for the rest of my life, and I'm just loving the way that it's making me feel. And to answer her last question of what was my biggest reason for doing carnivore, is I just didn't feel good in my body. If you guys want to hear my backstory of why I started carnivore, you can look at my first video that I ever posted of why I started the carnivore diet, and it really goes into depth and detail of my struggles with weight loss and just feeling good in my body again after having children. And that's honestly the reason why I started eating the carnivore diet, because honestly I was just looking for a way to feel better in my own skin. So that's pretty much all I got for my update of being 20 weeks pregnant and on the carnivore diet. Let me know if you have any further questions that I wasn't able to address during this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video today. I do post new videos every Wednesday. And if you're pregnant, let me know in the comment section below how many weeks along you are. I think it's really cool when other mamas comment saying like, oh, we're so close in weeks, or this is how far along I am, or I just started and I'm pregnant and I just started on this carnivore diet. So I would love to hear where you guys are at. And even if you're not pregnant, still like and subscribe, because I think this content is pretty interesting, and it's just something that you maybe don't see all the time, of a young mom eating this way and just letting you know that how I've been doing and how I've been feeling on this carnivore diet. I really do love and appreciate all you guys for sitting down, watching my videos, just leaving sweet comments. I read them all and it honestly warms my heart. Appreciate you guys so much. I hope that you all have a wonderfully blessed day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye friends.